Welcome back, traders. Hope you're all doing well. It is Wednesday, March 27th today, and I had a great morning on Apple. It's funny, last week I shorted the hell out of Apple, and today I did exactly the opposite, but with very similar results. I'm actually going to put up a screenshot right now of my P&L. You'll see that I had a 68% P&L today, $621 of profit, and I did it in like about 30 to 40 minutes. Pretty much that very first massive spike right at the beginning of the day when Apple opened up this morning, about 6 minutes in, I had my alligators on my chart, and of course I had my 200 EMA. We were above all of that. About 6 minutes in, on the 1 minute candle, price just bounced off of the indicators that were bunched up at that moment, and then it just kind of skyrocketed. And I got in with a number of contracts right then, and I just peeled out basically all the way up until about I think it was like right a couple minutes before or after 9 a.m. when I closed out my last contract. But real simple. I mean, the only reason I'm not doing a detailed breakdown of this one is because it's very similar to a lot of the other breakdowns I've made, and most of all this, the kind of tenets that I talk about in the way that I trade were all there today, meaning stay on the right side of the moving averages, take a look at where price action is in relation to your moving averages, follow the trend, peel out as price is going in your favor, and then when you see that price looks like it's about to stall or possibly reverse on you, get out and be done with it, and try to get in and out as fast as you can without leaving any profit on the table. And that's basically what I did today. So the reason that I want to make this video today is because I got an email from a guy a couple days ago, and he was asking me what are the best and worst things about day trading for a living. And I thought, oh, this would be kind of a cool idea for an actual video that I could make. Because of course I want most of my videos to be actually about the technical trades that I do make, but you can't have every single video be just the same, like I got in here, I got out there. You want to branch out a little bit and talk about some other things. So I thought this would be kind of cool to go over the best and worst things about day trading for a living, as opposed to having some type of a job, whether it be an office job or a labor job or whatever else you'd be doing if you weren't doing this. So, top 3 things and bottom 3 things. The best thing about day trading for a living is absolutely the freedom that it gives you. It's not the money. Some people might think, oh, it's got to be the money. No, it's not the money. It's the freedom. It's not having a boss. It's not having any coworkers. It's having no commute anywhere. I mean, I wake up in the morning and I walk to my kitchen and I make some coffee, and then I go to my office, and that's it. And I'm at work for the day. That's it. It's like the level of freedom that you have doing this is absolutely incredible. And like when you make hundreds of dollars in a half hour or an hour, you think to yourself, I can't believe that I just made just as much, if not more money than I would have been making at a day job, but I did it here at home, in your bathrobe. Like, it's just amazing. So that's number one. Number 2, I touched on this briefly just a second ago, the no commute part of the freedom aspect. I mean, you can't underestimate how awesome it is to not have to commute to a job. I lived in Los Angeles for a long time, and you can imagine what that was like with the commute. It was like sometimes an hour and a half each way commuting to the office, and it was miserable, just like you would expect it to be. And every day when I was doing this, I was thinking to myself, if I could just not ever have to do this again, I would be so happy. And now I don't ever have to do it again. And yes, I'm very, very happy about that. So the no commute part of the whole thing is definitely number 2 on my best of. And number 3, I would say personal accomplishment. So just knowing that you essentially are just using the power of your own mind every day to just create wealth out of nothingness. I mean, of course, yes, you have to have a certain amount of money in a trading account to start with, but the idea that, I've got X amount of money in my account this morning, and then an hour later, I have that amount plus $500 more or $1,000 more. And you just created it out of thin air, essentially, by using the power of your own mind while you're looking at charts and seeing patterns and interpreting the indicators. That's absolutely incredible. And that's definitely one of my favorite things about it. And so now let's get into the worst parts of day trading for a living. For me, personally, the worst part about it is when my timing is off. And this is important because day trading is all about timing. And I'm a musician, so the idea of timing is very important to me. Like, you need to be on beat and have a great sense of timing when you play music. You also need to have a great sense of timing when you're trading. And the worst trades for me are not the ones where I'm just flat out wrong. Like, sometimes I'll just get it wrong and I just look back after a losing trade and I think, how did I get that so wrong? Like, I completely screwed that up. And that happens to everybody. But what's even worse is when I ended up being right, just not at the right time. And then sometimes I'll screw myself because my timing is off, and what I thought was going to happen actually did happen, but it didn't happen in the time frame that I expected it to happen, and therefore I had to stop out for a loss rather than having a nice gain if it had done what I thought that it would do. So a good example of this is, like, let's say, for example, I'm looking at any daily chart, and according to the daily chart, it looks like, we should pop up real hard today. We should be on the upside. So market opens up and I look for a little bit of a pullback. I try to go long, I get in long, and then for whatever reason, it just falls out really hard, blows past my stop level. I close for a loss because, although I do trade very aggressively, there comes a point when you can't be stupid and you can't risk all of your capital simply because, you're trying to be a cowboy about it. So I'll stop out, I'll have a loss, usually it's a few $100s loss. And then later on that day, it'll just completely reverse and do exactly what I thought it was going to do at the beginning of the day, but it did it after I've already stopped out. That is incredibly frustrating, and it does happen occasionally, and I really hate when that happens. So that's the worst thing, is when you're basically right, you're just not right in the time frame that you expected to be right in. That's number 1. Number 2, the lack of a specific weekly income. Now, this is not so much something that I dislike as much as it's just a little bit frustrating because you can't ever say with any certainty exactly how much money you will make in a week. I'm always sure that I'm going to make money. I mean, I never lose money on the week. The only thing is, I don't know if I'm going to make a lot of money that week or if I'm just going to make a small amount of money that week. And so that can be a little bit difficult to budget your expenses or your disposable income, your luxury purchases or whatever. But the easy solve for that is to just live a more stripped down lifestyle and don't feel like you need to have so much stuff all the time. And that's totally how I live. I don't feel the need to drive a Ferrari. I mean, if I wanted to drive a luxury sports car, I could drive a luxury sports car. I don't feel the need to drive a luxury sports car. I have one very average car, and I have a motorcycle, and I have a couple of houses. And that's all I need. I don't need more than that. I don't need a gigantic walk-in closet full of Versace suits and, thousands of pairs of shoes and stuff like that. I mean, if you want to live like that, it's your life. Live like how you want to live. I'm just saying the way to temper something like having a lack of a specific weekly income that you can count on is simply not needing to keep up with so many expenses. And then no matter what happens, even if you have a really slim week as far as your P&L goes, no big deal. You've got plenty of money in the bank. You don't have a ton of money, flowing out all the time, so you're set. So that's the second thing that's a little bit frustrating about doing this for a living. And then the last thing that's kind of frustrating is when I allow distractions to get into my trading. And this is something that does happen occasionally, and I always work really hard on keeping it from happening, because I have developed a strategy that works incredibly well for me, and it's a very simple strategy, and it's the strategy that I teach in my book and in my video course. It's really basic. It's just I buy call or put options and I go with the trend. I figure out the best way to identify specific trends when they are truly real and it's not like a fake out. I get in at just the right time. I ride the trend, while it's going in my favor, while it's got a lot of momentum, and then I get out before the trend reverses on me or when it starts to stall. I'll be able to anticipate, okay, I think the action is over. It's time to get out with my profits. That's exactly what I did today with Apple, and it's what I do basically every single day. And when I find myself losing most of the time is when I try to add some other thing to the mix. Like maybe I'll read something or I'll watch a video where it's like, what if you try this? Or what about this? Or what about this weird ticker that nobody's heard of? And I just think, let me try trading this thing that I've never traded before. Let me try this particular strategy that I've never tried before. More often than not, that doesn't work. And then when I go back to my own tried and true way that I trade every day, I'm completely green most of the time. So when I allow distractions and other voices to get in my ear about, maybe you should do this, maybe you should do that, that always comes back to bite me in the ass. So I'm definitely working hard on improving my own discipline and just trading the way that I know works, because it works every single day. And that's it. So in a nutshell, the best and worst things about day trading options for a living. That's it for now. Hope you enjoyed this short video. I think it's kind of short. I guess we'll see. But yeah, hope you're all trading well and doing good. And stay tuned for more new content coming up shortly. See you soon.